看到人，我们一定都会先问人家 How are you？ 那在职场上，我们如果回答 Fine, alright， 这样子真的 OK 吗？ Stay tuned for our episode today and find out how we answer the question How are you？Hello， 欢迎来到商业英语 Career Plus 的 Podcast。在这边，我们利用多年国际职场与教学经验，带给大家最真实与贴切的职场英语知识。Hi, I'm Sherry, founder of Executive Plus. As a language trainer and certified coach, I've trained hundreds of managers from Fortune 500 companies such as Dior, Google, and Deloitte & Touche.
And I'm Nick, Director of Communication Strategy at Presentality.I've helped startups raise millions of US dollars in funding and trained executives of publicly listed companies to present on the global stage. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Career Plus Podcast, Episode 9, where we ask the tough questions like, how are you? So, Sherry, how are you?
I'm all right.Just
all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's it. Episode over. Thanks for your time.
So that's a conversation killer.
That
right?
is. And this is actually why we want to do this. A very seemingly simple question, how are you, is often the end of conversations.
没有错。所以为什么我们要来讲这个问题？这是超简单的问题，应该每一个人都会回答吧？大概国小生或者是幼稚园的小朋友都会回答 How are you？可是呢，我们就发现呢，常常真的大家回答都是 I'm fine, thank you, and you? Right?
Yeah, I think that's been programmed into Taiwanese. Like the first thing I noticed when I came was like, if I ask a question like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, I'm fine, thank you, and you. Doesn't matter if they're, 4 years old or 40. It's the same answer, right?
那或者是有的时候，我很多学生都会直接跟我讲说 fine。就这样子了，就没了。那其实这种有点就叫做 conversation killer， 因为你就会发现好像你没有办法 carry on 那个 conversation， 好像就是停在那边了。Okay, so this is a question now. Nick, what do you think about the question, how are you? What is it really for? Is it asking about how you are at this very moment?
Not necessarily. In fact, this question actually has two layers.The first layer is that this isn't really a question, it's just a statement. It'd be no different than what's up or how's it going. Like you don't expect an answer, it's just equal to hi. The second layer of this question is what we want to explore a bit more deeply is this is a way to start a conversation, but only if you do it properly. If you kill the conversation, it's not interesting. And the way that you continue a conversation is you don't answer it in terms of right now.When I'm asking you, how are you? I'm not looking for a literal, like, right this now. Are you happy, sad, comfortable, hungry?
Tired.
Tired. So, this is also what gets awkward when someone's like, hey, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm not doing so well. I don't feel. And then the other person's like, oh, man. Yeah, that's too bad. It's awkward, right? It's a conversation starter.But, if you take it literally, it'd be the same as, in Chinese or in Taiwanese. If someone's like, 吃饱不 or 吃饱了吗 they don't actually expect you to be like, oh, yeah, no, I ate. No, I had, a pork chop earlier. It was delicious, right? This is not.
Yeah.
It's actually just a greeting. It's a way to get things going.
所以其实how are you 这个问题，你的回答不是说你现在这个 moment 你的感受是怎么样，是 happy 还是很累啊，还是伤心，并不是这样，而是代表是这个 how are you 你的是说你目前的人生的状态怎么样 right? It's like your state of being, right now in this point in time, what's going on?
Yeah, it's just like recently is everything.How's it going? What are you working on? What have you been doing?
Yeah. And I do have a really bad experience again. So I was being very honest. My boss back in the bank, he would ask me, hey, how are you, Sherry? And everyone else would answer him, couldn't be better. It's like a very American thing, right? Couldn't be better.
Life is good.
And I wanted to be cynical at the time. I was like, nope. I was sick at the time. I seriously felt gross. So I told them, no, I don't feel well right now. And that got escalated, actually. Really? So that person who asked me went to my boss, and my boss went to his boss, and they all kind of had a really quick meeting and talked about Sherry.
Like, is she in a good place? What's wrong with her?
So I got called into the office just because I wanted to be playful and say, no, I wasn't doing well. So, all right. So it doesn't mean that you have to be dishonest, right? Mm-hmm. It just means that it is about the conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things this is about moving forward. So a lot of times you'll just tie your answer to, something. Mm-hmm. So for example, it says like, hey, how are you? You can answer and be like, oh, I'm doing well. What about you? Mm-hmm. I heard you got a promotion recently. Or I heard that, your daughter just graduated.
Yeah.
But again, this is about, it's that back and forth. It's not, how are you? Fine.
就是人家丢球给你，你要丢回来了, right? Basically that's what it is, right? You got to reciprocate. You got to bounce back, right? So yeah, I'm doing well. What's going on with you? I heard this. I think these are really easy way to just carry on the conversation. So there's another way, and I see that a lot of people would do this in the corporate world, is that they would actually using that opportunity to create other, opportunities or perhaps you want to work with someone, you use that how are you to kind of establish that relationship.
Right. So, when you meet someone, you might say like, hey, how are you? And they may just tie that into something else like, how are you? Oh, I'm doing well. I'm working on a project and I'd really like your input. Mm-hmm. May I stop by, your cubicle sometime later today?
Yeah. Or else you can say, oh, it's going well. I actually have been meaning to ask you for some suggestions on the project that I'm working on. What do you say about grabbing a coffee at 2? So you just turn that into like make an appointment, right? Having a meeting with that person, building that connection.
Yeah. One of the themes that, you and I really worked on when we were building our online course for conference calls is that any kind of conversation needs to push towards action. Especially at work, right? This is not chit chat. If someone's just like, hey, how's it going? I heard your dog is sick or something. That's one thing. But when you're really trying to like connect with your coworkers, or you're trying to get things done, hey, how are you? Can turn into as simple as, action. Like, oh, I'd love to get your input on my project. Or, do you mind if we meet at 2? Something like that.
所以我们刚刚讲到说，其实这个 how are you 你很简单的就是你回应人家，但是在你回应人家的时候，你也可以顺便问我听说什么什么事情发生，我听说你老婆生孩子啦，恭喜啊 just carry on the conversation， 或者是你也可以在create 这个行动之后的action, right? Having more action. 那这个在我跟 Nick 我们的线上课程，在好好上的一个线上课程，我们常常会强调说，不管你在说什么，在一个 conversation 里面，你都要 create more value， 还有它这个行动之后的 action。所以你可以说，我现在在 work on 一个 project， 那我想要说，我想找你谈谈，看看你有什么意见可以给我，我们2点在哪边见面好不好？所以直接的你就可以 create more action, create more values, just from a simple how are you questions.
Yeah. So we hope that the next time that someone looks at you and goes, hi, how are you? You have a way better answer than fine. Thank you, and you.
All right. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next time.